thank our sponsor, Parati's Quality Meats, located in Cranford, New Jersey, serving customers all over New Jersey for the past 50 years. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Talk, presented by the Shore Football Report. And today we have Long Branch Greenway's head football coach, Danny George. Coach, thanks for coming on the show today.
Rob, thank you for having me. It's really exciting. Thank you for putting this together. It's a great forum for high school football in the Shore Conference.
Coach, you've done a lot for a lot of people, and me personally, and we talked a little bit just before we came on here, that when you were at Ocean Township and I was an assistant coach for Lou Versillo, I got a chance to talk to you. Not too many assistant coaches get a chance to talk to a head coach before a game, during pregame. I just congratulated you. You were 34 years old as the head football coach, and I thought that was pretty unique because me being a young coach too, I wanted to be a head coach. And I remember you telling me, you pointed to Coach Versillo and you said, "You're going to be a head coach real soon. Just keep listening to that guy over there." Right? And I remember Coach V looking at me and going, "You heard it. He's a good man," or something like that, right? And then watching you grow to 24 years later to where we are today. I've been a big fan of you through the years, watching you, coach, and it meant a lot to me as an assistant doing that. And that's where I tried to do that to many assistants before my games too. So you did something for me, and I'm sure you did something for many, many people. And we'll talk a lot about you and your program today. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Rob. And it's, I think that's part of it. As you go through and as you mature, you kind of work your way up and you realize how special it is. A guy like Coach Versillo doesn't come around very often at all. He was telling me to swim between the lane lines at Little Mama Beach Club back in the day. So, so we go way back.
Yes, you do. He has a lot of respect for you, Coach. Here we go. Career record. I mean, you did announce that you're done after this season, and I can relate to that. I stepped down right before St. John Vianney, and my AD told me not to do it because he thought it would disrupt the whole team, and that, well, it couldn't be any wrong. The kids ran through a wall for me after that game, and I said to him, I should have said this before every single game because we were just a different team and all that. I can only imagine how the Long Branch community and players what they're going to send you off this year with a very talented team you have with that. Scary for the opponents. So enjoy and Coach, the only thing I can tell you is when I did step down, everybody would remind me, "Oh, this is the last time you're doing this. This is the last time you're doing this." And it kind of got, I kind of embraced it. I really enjoyed the last time I was doing my speech, the last time I did this, the last time I hugged a kid before on the field. And so I hope you just enjoy every moment of every single part that you did, because it is, you definitely deserve the send-off of that you're going to be getting this year.
Rob, that's a great point, and I plan on it. I plan on enjoying every last second of it.
I'm sure you're smiling a little bit more. You're probably a little different in certain ways that certain coaches or players probably notice. You're probably relieved and just enjoying the moment. And that's important. As us coaches, sometimes we don't enjoy the moment until later.
Yep. No question about that.
Great.
I think this year, right now you're hitting the ground sprinting, just trying to make up for the things that have happened in the last year, and just so from that standpoint, I'd love to say downshifted a little bit, but if anything, we got it in high gear right off the get-go, because I think, we're selling our program to our kids again, trying to get kids who might not have come out last year, just those little things that we never thought those positions we'd be in, we're in now.
Yeah. Coach, let me introduce you to everybody out there. This is Coach Danny George, the head coach at Long Branch. This is his 23rd season, where he won 143 games there. But the great thing is, in his career, you've won 159 games, which puts you 10th all-time ever in Shore Conference history. Says a lot for you. At Long Branch, you have 4 division titles and 3 state championships. And we talked about that one call that you made against Freehold Borough in the state finals. You were down by 1, and you went for 2. It says a lot about you, and you made it. And oh my God, how much confidence did you have in that play?
A tremendous amount. It was something we had worked on, never shown. And, when we came to decide, part of it is knowing you had one of the greatest high school players to ever play on the other side.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to do was give him the ball again because he was just so special. And that's how I felt about my guys. And I looked at him and, they wanted, they called it themselves pretty much.
That's
and
awesome.
We felt like we had a great look. We've had a lot of history with Freoborough and kind of felt comfortable with the look we were going to get. And, we had been practicing that. And, the kids just executed it to the T.
It's amazing how a play like that works. We're great. Imagine if it did not or whatever. It's just, but it says a lot for you, Coach, going for 2 instead of letting it go back into overtime and all that. But I was there. What a tremendous game. Probably one of the best games I've ever saw with that. Coach, you were also 2 times overall short conference head football, short conference coach of the year by the Asbury Park Press. I remember one time at Ocean and also one time at Long Branch, which is amazing. Some people never get it. You got it twice. That says a lot about you. When you look back on it and you look at all your trophies and your awards, you will be very appreciative of it. Right now, you're in coaching mode and all that stuff, but it's going 100 miles an hour. But you have so much stuff to be so thankful for. And then at Ocean, 2 years prior to Long Branch, you were a 34-year-old coach. You were 16-6. You proved to everybody you were a young coach and you were successful. I think you went to the state finals twice. Is that true?
We lost in the semis and then we were in the finals.
Yeah, but you won 2 division titles with those teams, and then you moved on very quickly. And I don't think a lot of people would think that. I mean, staying there that long, 23 years. This is your 23 years. That's a lot. I mean, that is consistency, and that's great for programs. It really is, Coach. This is a Hall of Fame career, and you're still going at it, and it's very unique because it is your last year, and I hope that you do really appreciate it because you deserve it. You made a lot of people very happy and proud of the programs you've been in, and it's time for you to coach football, the sport that you love, and enjoy the moment, Coach. Enjoy the moment.
That's definitely the motto.
Coach, that's going to take us to the process. Now, I want you to walk us back to when you first started coaching football and tell us all the stops that led to the way that where you became the head coach at Long Branch. So basically, I want to hear your resume of all the stuff because that's why you got the job at Long Branch, because of your resume. You really did. It's a great story. Go ahead, Coach.
So, well, thank you. It brings a great smile to my face to be able to talk about it. I was working for Price Waterhouse in New York City, coming home on the weekends, and my brother was coaching at Red Bank, and I got to know the Red Bank staff, so I was helping them out, kind of, up in the stands, working with them a little bit, and I got to know Coach Ty Lewis, who is definitely one of my mentors, and just, started to get in my ear, and I did that for a couple of years, and I said, you know what, it's time for a change. I got out, I came back, I got my master's at Monmouth. As I was getting my master's, I was coaching football and wrestling at Red Bank, and it was just an awesome experience. Ty Lewis was my first guy to really bring me under his wing and show me the ropes, and his passion for football was unparalleled, and just his love and a lot of the stuff that I still do today, how he treated kids, how he did everything for the kids, trying to get them developed and get them in colleges. That's really where I really found out a lot of that stuff out. And I became very close with Barry Sullivan at the time. Mm-hmm. Coach Lewis had passed away. Coach Sullivan had stepped in and started to do a great job. And so I was coordinating the offense, having a great time, and the Ocean Township job opened. Coach Lewis, Coach Sullivan was a young coach. So, I knew that, if I was going to have an opportunity to kind of spread my wings a little bit, I was going to take a shot at Ocean. And for the young coaches out there, I wasn't the first choice. I wasn't the second choice at Ocean. I was the third choice, which was great for me at the time because I said, listen, the first two guys didn't work out. It's awesome. And which, I was super excited about. But within the year, there was a new superintendent, new athletic director. So, I was kind of feeling my way along there. And that's when Coach Conti came in, which, became another mentor for me because he's someone that I was always admired. And, he worked at the beach on the summers. I work in the beach on the summers. So I've always had a good relationship with him. We, played, at times against when he was coaching as a player. So nothing but huge respect. And he really kind of, the 2 years I was there was somebody that I could speak with and talk to. And because, at the end, when you're young and you're in those first couple years, you really need mentors. You really need people to talk to. And they're two of the guys that I would always, rely on and speak to and move on. So then, the Ocean experience was awesome, from the community to the parents to the kids. They were two of the great years I've had in coaching, as well as the Redback days. But, I had an opportunity and to come back home, and for me, tradition is everything. For me, the opportunity to be on the sideline where I played, where my father played, where all my brothers played, where my grandfather played, my great uncle played. It was something that I don't think I could have ever passed up, and you don't know when those opportunities come. So they came, Joe Frieda was the superintendent. Jim Simonelli was the principal. Chuck Ferrara, made me all feel comfortable in making the transition. So that's when I jumped into it.
That's incredible. Coach, I was going to talk about it later, but you talked about it. You also were the wrestling coach, and you've taken 2 programs to the highest levels. I mean, your wrestling teams have been tops in the state. How do you budget your time, going from football to wrestling? And they have off seasons too, the overlap. How do you do it?
I think, my greatest mentor was my father. And his philosophy on life, his philosophy on sports. And I came to Long Branch not as the head wrestling coach. Mm-hmm. Over the summer where I was there, the wrestling coach left. So then the AD said, "Hey, would you be the wrestling coach?" And then I became the wrestling coach and football coach. Mm-hmm. And a year after that, I added the track to it because the track coach had left. Mm-hmm. And really, for me, it all kind of tied in because I just, one, I believe in the multi-sport athlete. 2, I believe in kids need mentors. And I truly believe those wrestlers out there are better wrestlers if they play football. And there's football players are better football players if they wrestle, Yep. And I tried to always tie them together. Now, a lot of the athletes and the kid who played the specialty positions, they were basketball players. So I always loved to, watch them play basketball. And then that's how the track came in because, at the end of the day, when I was at Long Branch, kids, the training in the off seasons we did were through our weight room. And if they weren't running, they weren't running. So as I told my quarterbacks, my receivers, mm-hmm. my DBs, my running backs, we run. You know what I mean? And in order to do that, you're going to come with me at track, and that's when we're going to build, some endurance and build some extra speed and all those things. So I kind of just took them from one season to the next, and believed in them doing the sports, but also realizing who was a football player, who was a wrestler at heart, who was a track person at heart, and tried to tie the three of them together.
You got a great look to see how competitive they were. And you as a coach, I mean, think about it. You are competing every single part of the year with your Long Branch players, not just football players, but all of them. So that's one thing that's pretty fun. You're competing in all aspects, right?
Yes. And Rob, you hit it. I think one of the last thing, I was fortunate. I wrestled at Ohio State in college. I was at one of the Olympic training camps. Dan Gable was the coach, and it was a tremendous week. I was there, and just learning, his mindset and how he approached every day. And his first and last thing out of his mouth was the ability to compete. The only thing I can teach you and help you is get you to realize the importance, the ability to compete.
Yeah.
I think that's been that's been a model. Like if you're fast and you're a football player and you're fast, well, why aren't you running track? Because in a track, there's 8 lanes or 6 lanes, and at the end there's someone who's first and there's someone who's 8th. Yeah. And if you're afraid to compete, that's a problem. And I think that's the kind of storybook that our kids leave with. This, I can compete. I've been through a Coach George practice, football game. We're not afraid of anybody. We're not afraid to compete. We may lose at the end of the day. We may even get embarrassed at the end of the day. But I competed. I walked between the 2 white lines, and I got after it.
Oh, that's awesome. You couldn't walk the hallways at Long Branch and not do anything, because you're there on every angle of every hallway with your coaches. So you get all the athletes out. That's great, man. That really is. But you're right. College coaches too, they want athletes to compete. They just don't want them hanging in a weight room or chilling out on the sofa. They want to see multi-sport athletes, so they get better evaluation from them too.
100%. And so many times we're in a world where, we're gonna narrow things down. Don't want to do don't want to do anything else. It's just, God blessed each individual with size. You know what I mean? From what we do with that size and speed, it can be developed, it can be worked on, and I think it needs to be put under fire. It needs to be pressed on and pressure, so we can compete and not be afraid.
Coach, one last thing before we end the process. This is awesome. Did you ever regret anything, a call or whatever, or you just love where you are and you'll never change a thing again? Also, like going for 2 points in that one state final game. Is there anything that you look back, said, I wish I did this, or you know what? I got a lot of positive things that came out of my calls the last couple of years.
I think one of the pieces with a lot of coaches, and I think it's with me, we coach with so much passion. We're so excited, in the moment, part of me, take out the analytics. I don't, sometimes I go with my gut. Sometimes I go with my heart. Sometimes I go with, I've been blessed with so many studs, and I believe in those studs, and saying, we're going to get this. And if we didn't get it, I can sit back and say, listen, this is the way I rule my life. Would I make a different call? You know what I mean? I would have went back. I should have called this or I should have called that. But that's a lesson for my kids to say, listen to me, we're going 100%. We can maybe say we could have done this or could have done this, but we're gonna get it done.
Coach, again, I'm gonna say it again. When I was at that state final, when the game was going back and forth, back and forth, when you made that call right away, we're going for 2. The confidence that you must have shown your program must have just kept going for the next couple of weeks because you went for it and you made it, and it was incredible. It was just incredible with that. And that wasn't even a pause. This is what we're doing. It was awesome.
And the kid who caught it was his first catch of the day. It was the running back guy to the back. You know what I mean? Yeah. Who had always done it. You know what I mean? And that's what it was. About that. And that game had so many, positive things that I think why people should play high school athletics in it, being down 14 in the fourth quarter, and you and I have been around a long time. Down 14 in the fourth quarter, you look around and there's a lot of heads that are down. And you can't ask guys to go in the game, but my guys had never lost that eye, never lost that. Hey, cool, we got this, we can do this, Awesome. And they made the plays. They did it,
That's great, man. Great stories. Not just from that moment. You have so many of them. We'll try and cram as many as we could in this interview, Coach. That was an awesome take on your process. All right, Coach, I'm going to rip this thing off. I don't ever want to wear this mask again, and I know you're sick of it too, but we had to do it. Tell me something positive that you learned last year with your program with the COVID.
I learned, and without a doubt, how much our kids love the game of football, because they went through so many different things, so many hurdles, so many obstacles just to get on the field for practice. And then to play games, knowing that there was nothing at the end of the rainbow, there was no playoffs, there was no anything. It was just, hey, you want to play, we're going to, the state did a great job of putting something together compared to a lot of the other states. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that our kids, that I got to see them, mm-hmm. and that we got to play some football.
That's right, because we had somewhat of an off season, then it got halted.
Yeah. And
you wish that would have been tough for a group of kids to not have to be able to play their football season, their junior to senior, sophomore, whatever. You never get your senior years back. You're right. And you're right. Knock on wood, that was a great thing that happened. And hopefully we do not revisit that again. Okay, now, Coach, I want you to talk a little bit about your 2021 Long Branch High School football schedule on the left. And then the right side, we're going to talk about the newly formed Federal Division and a bunch of new faces that you guys are going to start playing. Coach, go ahead. Take it to the left.
Yeah, so it's exciting. I think, I applaud the athletic directors in the short conference for, really taking a good look at, the conferences and changing them and adjusting them. And it's, as a person that initially was a little skeptical without the rivalries in there, now that we see how the schedules went, I'm excited that we have some new teams, we have some old teams, we have some rivalries in there, so we're excited about the schedule this year.
That's looking at that schedule. And I just had Coach Klein on earlier today. You're playing the school that you were at prior to Long Branch, man. Have you played them in the past?
Yes, we have. We played them for a number of years.
Okay.
It's a huge rival. So, for me, I'm excited that game's back on the schedule.
Good.
And hopefully we can continue to play it, just because, I can't go out to eat, and not see some kids from either side of it talk about the games or do anything, mm-hmm. because it's great topic. It's, mm-hmm. Ocean, Long Branch is something that I get excited about, whether it was when I was wearing the red and white or when I'm wearing the green and white. It's just something that it's heated. It brings out the best on both sides. So it'll be exciting to get after it again.
And it'll have a lot more, probably some feelings and meanings with you this year being your last year. And then the last game, Coach, wow. Regardless, you could win a state. That's going to be your last game, is that Thanksgiving Day game, because it is after the state championship game. So playing Red Bank in a rivalry Thanksgiving Day game, it's always a battle, right? Red Bank and you guys. That's going to be something special there. Coach Shane Fallon was talking about it earlier too. That is a brutal schedule, but a schedule that you guys are prepared for, and you're also a tough opponent for all those people on their schedule, Coach. On the right-hand side is the new Federal Division. And you know as well as I do, us coaches, we don't know who our division is until December, January. And then we all scatter and try and get information on every team because most of it is different teams. There's some familiar teams here and also some teams that are new, right, to you for the most part?
Yes. Freehold, we have that great history with. Mm-hmm. Through the years, we've played each other. Coach Ellis does a great job. So we're they're similar. We're similar teams kind of. We've got some really good athletes on both sides of the ball, like them, and developing linemen and making sure we're competitive up front is always a challenge. And I know he's got a couple really good kids back, so I know he'll be ready to get after it. St. John's is probably the one team on the schedule where we know the least amount. I mean, we know about their players and whatnot. We've seen some film and whatnot, but they're probably the team on there that with the least amount. Mm-hmm. Coach is the young coach at Tom's of East. He's doing a nice job. We've spoken before. We played a couple years back, and Coach Sig at Toms River South, him and I coach at Red Bank together.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yes. So, and then we scrimmaged through the years sometimes.
Correct.
So that division, has some similarity in it, and it's going to be super competitive. We just, for us, you hear this quite a bit, but I think we learned it more, the last 2 years being in the monster division with, modern day RBC, Rumson, all the big dogs, Middletown. It's going to be a similar schedule, but we realized that, we were in a lot of football games the last 2 years. Yeah. It's about finishing one, and it's about taking care of your side of the ball. I think sometimes you try to get your kids not to do it, but you look and preconceived notions on Freehold's this, St. John Vianney's that. They're going to do what they're going to do, but more importantly, we've got to play our football game.
Yeah, Toms River South had probably one of their better years in years. St. John Vianney has a lot of guys back and a couple new guys that came in, and Freehold's got top guys that were all conference, all shore, all division. You guys have a lot of guys back too, and Toms River East is a younger team that has a lot of excitement. So you're right, that is a package of exciting football week in, week out in that new Federal Division.
And I think if going back to the credit to the ADs, where they nailed it. You're not going to know. You guys had picked the games week to week, or it's going to be like holy moly, because anybody, you don't bring the A game that night. You're not winning your football game, because I think that's how balanced that division is. And I'm sure some teams will rise and some teams will fall, but you don't have a night off there. No, we picked up Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, your Jackson, Ocean, and Red Bank are three tough non-conference games too. But
yeah, we had an opportunity to pick them up. They had a break in their schedule, and it was we have a nice little rivalry with them with wrestling and a little bit with football. So it's pretty cool. Our kids, we know the Jackson kids, so it's nice.
That's nice. Good. Yep. That's all you want, Coach. You just want to play competitive games and play the top talent around, and you've never backed down from anybody, and that's very obvious in your schedule and your approach in football every single year. Okay, now, Coach, if you could do me a favor and just name your assistant coaches for everybody on here, and they're the glue to the football program. You were talking about that earlier, that you rely a lot on them throughout the season and the off season, and you're very tight with them, and it's a great staff you're proud of. So let's hear the names.
Okay, great. So I'm going to start with the freshman group, but we're unique. We're not unique, but we all practice together. So everybody kind of has a position for the varsity and the freshmen at the same time. But the freshman coaches, our head freshman coach is Coach Pitts, Jamal Pitts, who played for me. Exciting, who was a quarterback for me. Played against Lacey back in the day with Coach Fusillo.
Mm-hmm.
We played a great game there. We have Devron Clark, who is also with the freshmen, wide receivers, and he also played for me, which was super exciting. He's coming back, and he's coaching with us. And then Ryan Burgess is also a defensive line coach. He coaches. He's also with the freshmen as well as the upperclassmen. And his first year was last year, so he's back, and we're excited teaching in the building. So excited about that. Get up with our defensive coordinator is Chad King. And I had the pleasure of coaching him over at Ocean Township when I was there. Played at Sacred Heart. He had a great career there, and he's coordinating the defense. Along with him on the defensive side of the ball is Sean Brown, who is one of the great football players and wrestlers I had a chance to coach at LB, and he's with the linebackers. And then we also have Ben Woolley is our offensive line coach. He played for me on the 99 championship team, so that was exciting. And he coordinates the offense with Coach Greg Penta, who I actually played for Coach Penta, Gary Penta, and it's his son Greg who's coaching with us, and that's kind of a nice little niche and connection. He played his football brick, but so him and Ben are kind of coordinated. Ben's the run game, Greg's the pass game, so they work together on that. Also have Coach Terry King, who is Long Branch through and through. I coached against him a lot and wasn't very successful at that. So he's on the staff now. So he's the running backs coach. Him and I are kind of sailing off together at the end. It'll be his last year too, which I'm super proud of that. And Coach Chris Parker coaches the wide receivers. And I had the pleasure of coaching him when I was in Red Bank. And now he's at Long Branch and working with us, and he does a tremendous job for us. So that's the staff. Love it. You know, wouldn't want anybody else on the sidelines with us. And, you know, they're up for the challenge and the task.
I love hearing how you care about all the athletes, and you have the varsity freshman coaches together coaching up the kids.
So that works, you know. So what we do is we come to, you know, we start together. We do a little pre-practice, start together, stretch together. So our individual period will be, you know, with upperclassmen. So everybody is coaching a position. So therefore, you know, so the upperclassmen are on offense. You know, Coach King is Coach Chad King's coaching defense back. Coach Brown's coaching the linebackers. Coach Burgess coaching the defense line of the young kids. And then, you know, then we go off our group because we found great success that, you know, the freshmen a lot of times don't really have anybody to work with in group. Now they can work with the young sophomores and JV guys. And then we have the iron sharpen the iron. Top it.
That's great. And you also trust the fact that you want your freshman kids to see your great staff too, to be around them. So they get to know him. And that's very important.
We have a guy like Coach Burgess who, you know, played at Colorado State. You know, he's going to coach all the defensive linemen. You know, Devron Clark is working with us. He played at Albright. You know, he's going to be able to coach all the kids, so Coach Pitts, so those things I think are important. And, as a head coach, there's nothing greater than making sure your staff is coaching, because then they're really involved.
Yeah.
We've all been around some people where you walk in and there's one person coaching and everybody else.
No, not in your program at all, Coach. Not in your program. I love the fact how you keep those freshmen occupied. They get to know you guys and get coached by you. So the transition going to varsity the next year is a lot easier. It's just a lot easier. Program continuity. That's awesome, Coach. I loved hearing that some of the coaches played for you. I loved it. And you got that smile, and you're a veteran coach, but adding people to your staff like the younger guys keeps you young, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It does. We get after it all the time because, we just believe in, the passion, the excitement, you know what I mean? And that's something that, I tease my guys all the time because, I get up super early in the morning and work out. And now I'm working out with a lot of the guys at like 5 a.m. at the gym, and then so now we just kind of push each other. We got our, like the new age, we got our group text.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So we're hitting each other up, who's doing what, and it just, you got to love life. You got to take advantage of it every day. So, and we do with each other. We push each other. We keep each other on our toes, and it's exciting.
It's amazing. When I step down, Coach, you have a different rapport with everybody, and I was hanging out with 35-year-old guys. I'm 50 during football, and now I'm out. I'm used to hanging out with 15-year-old younger guys who are men, but I'm a little old. It's crazy, but they do keep us young. They give us some youthful ideas, and they just create so much energy in the locker room, on the field. It makes our jobs a lot easier. It does.
Oh, it does.
All right. Now, Coach, if you could do us a favor and talk about your 2021 Long Branch football team. But before you go on with that, just let us know what you guys run offensively, defensively, and then talk about the exciting newcomers and key returning players that you have that everybody's talking about that's making you smile going into your last season of football. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rob. Defensively, we're multiple front, bases of 40, and 4-2-5, and we'll break off from there, but that's our base. Offensively, we're a spread team, but also we'll be in some 21 personnel, and at important times. I think a lot of both the offense and the defensive side, when you talk about what you run, is the personnel you have.
Yep.
And I've been a firm believer in that. We've won with 21 personnel, two running backs, tight end, and we've won with spread stuff. It just happens to how we develop. And we do have a month, to figure some things out that way. I'm just proud to say that we had a true offseason. I'm proud to say that it was summer business as usual in LB with the weight room, with, Val Barnaby from ESSA, played in the pros, played at Rutgers, trains our kids at 6:30 in the morning twice a week, and just speed and agility, but probably more importantly, toughness. Because I think we talked schedule earlier, you can have all the players in the world. If you're not mentally tough, this just doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And, we're bringing guys back. We're bringing guys back that had a lot of game experience against some really, really good teams. On the downside of it, we lost those football games, but I think we hope that we learned that, you can be the fastest guy, or you can jump the highest, or you can throw the farthest, until we approach the game from a mental standpoint is really where the difference between winning championships and losing championships. So with saying that, it all starts, I'm proud to say that my first year, coached Rodriguez, the quarterback, David. And we're fortunate to win a championship. And now my last year, my quarterback will be his nephew, Christian Rodriguez. So
showing your age now. You're showing your age, Coach.
I'm on the bookends. I'm on both ends. Christian is high energy. He's our quarterback, and the beauty of that is he's played, for a couple years in the system, which is always nice. And so we're looking. He's also a two-way player. He won't come off the field, and we're looking for big things from him. You talked about some receivers. Starts with the Farmer boy Jaden has had a really nice couple-year stint here for us, and we're looking for as much from his leadership as we are from his abilities. We also have Jashawn Presley, who's a tight end, defensive end for us, who played was a two-way player for us last year, who's back, hoping to has a breakout senior year. Shamar Williams is kind of the talk of the 7-on-7 crew. He really Shamar Williams has had a really nice summer for us. Mm-hmm. He's off the charts when it comes to athletic ability, and now we've got to put it together. And when we put the helmet on, that has to translate. So we're excited about that. Also have a nice little receiver in KJ Thorne, who has been doing some good stuff for us in the summer, and he'd be his first chance to kind of break through. So he'd be a newcomer. For me, if you've known me my whole life, it kind of starts and ends with your tailback. Sekou Kamu, as I think is special. I've coached some of the great ones in the short conference while I'm at Long Branch, and I think he has the potential to be another one. Mm-hmm. He's also a two-way player, great vision, mm-hmm. Tough to get a helmet on, and we're excited about him. With saying that, offensively, we can't get it done without up front. And with that spread offense, it starts with your center. DeAndre McCullers is a two-sport wrestler, football player for me. He's been starting for 2 years, so he's in his third year. Not really anybody knows him because he doesn't say 3 words the entire season. But he's been a star for us at the center spot. And Kai Coleman is a tackle guard for us who played for us last year. Did some really good things for us. He's going to try to push his way onto a two-way starter, offensively and defensively. So he's a kid that we count on his leadership and his play. You heard a couple of young pups we have going on. We have Khalid Ingram, who's a big boy, 6'5", 6'6", 350 kid who will be a sophomore. We'll see how his development goes. Sky Ironside Vega is another one of the big boys that we're seeing if he fits in. We're kind of moving guys around and trying to get him in there. We have Israel Delgado, who's trying to work in at that offensive line position. So we're working hard there on that. A lot of those guys I mentioned will all be on the defensive side with what we're doing. So we're excited about them on both sides. Linebackers, I'm not going to mention any linebackers. We're young, and there's 6 or 7 deep, and until we put that helmet on, and knock people, we're gonna find out who rises there. But we've got some 6 or 7 of them that are looking to play. Our secondary guys are all back. Coach King does a great job, and he kind of plays corners and safeties and corners through the summer. So, but you're talking about Jaden Farmer, Christian Rodriguez, Sekou. You're talking about a young kid, Ernest Reevy, which is the brother of a really good player for me a couple years ago, getting in that mix. Mikey Hall is probably someone you heard a lot about who's had a tremendous, probably one of the best off seasons of anybody I've ever coached from track. He's a dynamite receiver, started receiver for us last year. He'll be in the mix also. I'm hoping defensively to press some kids and push some kids.
Mm-hmm.
So we're excited about him as well, and like you said, from the linebacker, we're searching. We've got an all call out, and kids know it. There's a tremendous amount of competition going on there, and I want to see it and want to see it develop and see it take off.
That's awesome. If we were playing poker and your cards were your players, I know you got a good hand because you're smiling, Coach. And just listening to you talk about your players, you're going to be all right. No sandbagging. You got workable players, good kids. There's nothing wrong with saying that. And you've had a great off season in terms of the weight room and also the 7-on-7 competitions. I would hear that from guys. Hey, Long Branch looks pretty good. Blah, blah, blah. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, man. The kids are having fun. They're competing. And it sounds like you're really ready to go to war with these kids this year.
I am, and I think, you showed that schedule. I think there's not anybody that's not on that schedule that I don't feels the same way about their team. And one of the things we've learned over, I think, really the course of the last 6 years, high school football is tremendous in the short conference. Yeah. So, it's about developing kids in the off season and then getting them to play together and realize the level they have to play with in order to be successful. We could have a really good season, or we could be disappointed a little bit because, we didn't understand the importance of integrity and character and playing those sports. We go to those state championship teams and people talk about them back to back. 14 points down in the championship game, and we found a way to come back and win. That was because players made plays, players believed in each other, and got it done. The next year we turn around, have an extremely talented team. We're 17 down at halftime against Shawnee in the Governor's Bowl. We win 21-17 because, again, the players made plays, the players believe in each other. And I think probably the things that are, talked about a lot, but most misunderstood with some kids is the chemistry, how important playing together and playing for one another is. Because after this, they may never put a helmet on again. It could be over.
You're right, man. So, wow. This was awesome, Coach. I appreciate you coming on here and talking some Long Branch football. You're very passionate, which is obvious because this is the way you are all the time. When you go to the all-star meetings, when I'm seeing you, you're very passionate, not only about your kids, you're passionate about all the kids. And that's what I love. And that's why you're always on those committees as a rep and all that stuff. So you're not just one-sided. You're about the whole spectrum of kids. That says a lot about you.
I love it. And I think, I think one of the things, and I even, spoke to, had a great talk with Coach Shiano about this, moving forward, we have a huge responsibility as ambassadors with, football is just because it's the greatest game we all think in America, it's something that really at the high school level, we've got to almost rebuild a little bit and put some time into it. The numbers are going down kind of across the board, and, there's other options, and with the latest pandemic, numbers are even down more. So we have to kind of go out and reintroduce ourselves to this, to the kids, to the sport, and come back, because the stars all want to play. It's the kids that, said, hey, I'll try it and I'll play it, and ended up being starters for you, key contributors for you and me, aren't necessarily there anymore. And, the Pop Warner programs are smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's something. So we've got to excite our base. We've got to sell our sport, to the elementaries again and getting them playing and getting them back, where our numbers, and that's why I believe in the rivalry games so much, because, we could play Ocean 9 times next year. We would never let down once, you know what I mean? They could play us 9 times because it's long range, or redneck, so that's excitement.
Coach, I do hope this, and I hope this, and so does the short conference, that when you step away, I hope you're still going to stay close enough to the game. And like you said, mentor a lot of coaches out there or just be a good role model to coaches and players and people in the community. Just don't go cold turkey and forget about football. I know you won't, but you deserve what you're doing right now, and I'm glad that you're doing this on your own and gonna have fun with it and gonna have whatever happens with this season. But it's been a great ride. It really has. And for me personally, thank you. And from behalf of the short conference coaches, I want to say congratulations on a great – not too many times can you say that to people when they're still coaching, knowing that they're going to leave. Most people retire, and then you tell them. I'm telling you, because this may be the last time I talk to you on this show right here. So thank you for everything you've done for us.
Coach, thank you so much. It was an honor to be on the show. Yeah. And good luck to everybody in the short conference. But stay safe, and see you on the gridiron.
I will see you on the field probably a lot of times, though, because you do have some big games ahead. And, have your program follow the shortfootballreport.com. And I'll do it from my end. You do it from your end. And let's make football fun, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Coach.